Oh my god.
Referencing iCarly to start the whole thing probably wasn't the smartest idea,
geez.
but it's
We
gonna
should-
be the way this starts anyway. So hello,
Okay.
hello, everyone
Hello,
involved, everyone watching,
all two of you.
all two
welcome,
listeners.
Welcome to the Doctors and Dragons podcast. This is season 1, which we are calling Bad Ghost. If you like both shows, you'll get that. So clearly we don't know how to make a podcast.
But we'll try anyway.
We're gonna
The
try.
power of love and friendship. We can overcome all.
We can overcome all. So I'm Ryan.
I am Bryce. And we have this special guest.
We are joined by special guest William. William, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. My name is William. That's about it.
That's okay. Well spoken. Well said.
What?
I'm experts.
You are the William? Oh man, big fan. I'm really glad we got such a prestigious name on our first episode of the podcast.
Yep. The William.
So this podcast it was inspired by a road trip that Bryce and I took a while back, a couple months ago, where we discovered that I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, and he's a big fan of Game of Thrones, and I have never seen Game of Thrones, and he's never seen Doctor Who.
Not one episode.
Well, yeah, now we've seen one episode each. And we are going to trade series, and we're going to go through both series one at a time, and we called it Doctors and Dragons because it's a play on Dungeons and Dragons.
I think everyone got that, right?
Well, I just wanted to
make sure that to the one person that just so happens to come across this podcast, they...
Okay. So there's a role-playing game called Dungeons and Dragons. And
I thought it was called World of Warcraft.
That's a different one. And we're calling this Doctors and Dragons because there are doctors in Doctor Who and dragons in Game of Thrones. And this show is about
really?
both of those shows. Well, we haven't seen any dragons yet. I'd just like to point that out.
We have seen dragon eggs, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that, and I have a theory about that, but we'll get to that.
I'm excited to hear your theories.
Yeah, so
I hope this becomes a running thing where you just have a theory for every episode.
Well, I hope so too, because theories are fun. So we're going to start with Doctor Who. We're going to do that first. So, which makes sense, because doctors and dragons, so we do the doctors first. Plus, we're saving the best for last, because let's face it, Rose, the pilot of Doctor Who, not that good.
So is the pilot of Doctor Who just called Rose?
Yes, it is it's called Rose.
I do not have the titles of the episodes in front of me.
Okay, well, I do, as I mentioned. Because, I have...
And I knew you did, so...
Yes.
I think how we should start this is that the person who is just coming into the show should give their input and make comments on the way.
That's a good idea. Before we get into it, though, William, since you are a special guest, I filled the listeners in on what my experience and Bryce's are with these shows. What is your experience with Doctor Who and Game of Thrones to this point?
So I have read the books, most of the books, and watched all of the Game of Thrones.
You read the manga for Doctor Who? Really?
Yep.
Oh,
I'm up to date with the hentai for it. Doctor Who, I've seen some of the on TV when I was little, and that's about it. But I
the new Doctor Who or the old?
David Tennant was the one I saw the most of. So not this series.
Tennant is the consensus favorite Doctor of the reboot. So I should also clarify, we're only talking about the reboot of Doctor Who, not the original from the 60s. So those of you Doctor Who fans who have tuned in
and immediately tuned out after hearing that sentence,
expecting us to go over the pilot from 1963, we're not doing that. We're going over the pilot from 2005.
Oof. Yeah, if Rose wasn't enough of a dead giveaway.
Yeah. This first season was 2005.
It seemed like 90s-ish to me.
No, it seemed like
it kind
a
of does
late
actually
90s to me.
Yeah.
That was the vibe I was getting.
It
part
seems
of the problem is that
pre-Avatar TV.
part of the problem is that it was really low budget in the early seasons. I think.
Yeah,
they got a little bit more of a budget as
the
they went on.
CGI was something that I've seen only in my nightmares.
Oh god, wait until we get a few episodes in and we meet the Slovene. The CGI on them is just
no
awful.
spoilers. No, how could you spoil the most pivotal moment of Doctor Who for me already? Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Wow.
So, and William mentioned the Game of Thrones books. We're not talking about those at all. We're just doing the show. So again, Game of Thrones fans tuning in expecting us to talk about the books are going to be very disappointed.
Very, very disappointed. You think we have time to read? What? What are words anyway? I can hardly speak the language.
So yeah, I'm outnumbered here. I'm the only Doctor Who fan among the three of us, and I feel like that's going to be a thing on this podcast a lot because I don't know a lot of Doctor Who fans, living in America. I don't know too many of them.
Yeah. The demographic of American Doctor Who fans does not usually include a 24-year-old college student.
Well, I mean,
a straight white.
I don't think he's 24.
No, I'm not. I mean, thanks, Bryce.
You're right there, Bryce.
You're within 2 years.
22.
22.
Oh wait, so you're 26?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
So anyway, I guess let's just jump in.
Let's
Can I say something about the opening?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I find the opening of this episode very awkward.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, dude. Oh god. Who acts like that as a couple? Like in like a minute 50, they're like trying to be all lovey-dovey and shit. It's like I'm watching some Backyardigans or like some Caillou from PBS, and I'm like, what am I?
My first note on this episode was Mickey really enjoys sandwiches.
Holy cow!
Because in that open, it's Rose and Mickey sitting in the park eating lunch, and he gets really close to her face and shoves a sandwich in his mouth.
Oh my god! He loves that. He loves going to the pub, and he loves watching soccer. Or football.
Football.
My bad. Football.
Football.
FUTBOL.
Yeah, football.
The true American sport.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I agree. The opening to this pilot is just very odd. It's sort of going through Rose's everyday routine.
They try to make it look cute. They try, and they fail so abysmally.
I know.
Oh god.
It's a hard sell. I'm telling you guys.
It's a hard sell.
I'm trying to sell you guys on this show, and with this being the pilot, it is not going to be easy.
Yeah, I don't know if I want
to. It's not. The pilot is not great. There are some good episodes coming, I promise, but
I would also like to add that the sorry, no, you should. I want to make this point after this. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
No, I was pretty much done. I was just saying that, there are some good episodes, even in this first season. There's one that is one of my all-time favorites that's a few episodes away. But the first episode and then the next couple are better, but this first one is just not good.
Yeah.
It is a bad episode of television.
It's dead, Jim.
So there's the eating sandwiches and the breakdancing with Mickey.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
And then kissing her when he still has a sandwich in his mouth.
She goes up.
Should have swallowed.
I want to move past this because I don't think we should talk about this intro much longer.
Yeah.
It was really bad. But
right,
once
so
she goes to her department store.
Yeah. We get to her at her job.
Working at her job. She goes up because I guess why was she not able to check out? Is it because somebody else was? I didn't catch that.
She was trying to leave.
Yeah.
She was trying to leave for the end of the day, and she had to take the lottery money to the electrician.
Oh yeah, that was
I don't know why.
I was just like, okay, and then we get introduced to the Doctor, which is Chester Bennington, come back from the grave.
It is okay. It's Christopher Eccleston, not
no, it's Chester.
Bennington.
He looks like he really does look like Chester, though. You got it.
Chester's ears weren't that big. Rest in peace, Chester.
Yeah, they're definitely not that big now. Ooh. Sorry, that's a little too soon, and I'm sorry for that joke for anyone who's really dedicated to Linkin Park still.
Dude.
Including you, Ryan. Including you.
Yeah, I love Linkin Park.
I'm very sorry for you. Not as big of a fan as Ryan, but, still pay my respects. But anyway, he still lives on as the Doctor.
Everything you say to me takes me one step closer to the edge.
Oh my God. And I'm about to break.
So let's get on with Doctor Who. So I also wrote down, my next note was that Rose, this whole thing starts off with just a scene that's just out of a bad horror movie with the with the pretty
this
blonde.
Isn't funny anymore.
The pretty blonde going into a scary basement and getting trapped in a room with these mannequins that are coming to life. It's just a bad horror movie.
Yeah.
It's
the karate chop too. Did you notice that?
That was the fucking supersonic fucking yeah.
And okay, here's the other thing too, is that the Doctor just like bursts in through this side door, right? So the main door that Rose came in is locked. And then she ends up right next to this side door that the Doctor comes in through. Now, the Doctor has a sonic screwdriver which unlocks doors, so it's possible that door was locked too, but Rose never tried it. She didn't even think to try the door.
She was so, I mean, in Rose's credit, if I just saw a bunch of mannequins come to life and surround me, I'd probably be too stunned to think rationally.
Well, no, I understand that, but
I'm defending your show, man. Come on.
I know, and I do love Doctor Who. I really do. But I am going to poke a lot of holes in this episode and in coming episodes.
I felt similarly, where there was like a lot of issues with it, but I did enjoy the episode as a whole, I gotta say.
Okay,
it was entertaining.
Yeah,
I'm glad, because if you can enjoy this episode, you can enjoy the show, because this is not one of their finer moments.
Yeah, and then so she gets out. The Doctor gets her out and escapes. And
and I like the conversation where she says they must be students, and he's going, yeah, okay, that's a good logical deduction, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but they're not students. You're wrong.
Yeah,
go home.
That makes sense, but they're not. No, they're not.
So then there's that iconic scene which I wish that I could play the audio of.
You mean the blowing up?
No, before that, where the Doctor tells Rose he's going to go blow up the building, walks through the door, and she's going to go home, and then he comes back through and says, "I'm the Doctor, by the way. What's your name?" "I'm Rose. Hello, Rose. Run for your life." And that's
is that an actual
it's
essential scene that people have quoted and have gone down?
It's one of those scenes. There are scenes that just sort of stick with you as a Doctor Who fan, and that's one that has always stuck with me. It was just the "hello, run for your life."
I'll tell you
that comes up with other characters throughout the series, not just Rose.
I'll tell you right now, the most memorable scene, the scene that I've only seen from this episode before watching it, was the scene where the building blows up. That is the only scene I've seen before, and I think it was because I was watching a meme compilation and somebody did that to 9/11 or something, as they do. Oh, and did you just say brown? No, that's mean.
Another point, getting back to the episode, is so was it weird to you that Rose decided to keep the mannequin's arm?
Yeah, that was creepy.
I would not have kept that.
That's gross.
Because the Doctor just he pulled off the arm when they were getting into the elevator and just tossed it to her casually, and she just held it. Like, she just kept it and took it home with her. What are you doing?
Plot armor.
And then like nobody questioned that. Like, she got home and her mom is
He won't shake my hand. Aha, good joke.
Jackie is going crazy, you know, like, oh, you should sue somebody, make a fortune off of this incident, and then never acknowledges that she just is clutching this plastic arm.
Oh, and then what is it? Mickey? Is that the
Mickey is the boyfriend? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So he comes into her house. He like takes the arm, does a joke with it, and he takes the arm out of her house. Okay.
Yeah.
First
he
of
does.
all, that's weird. Why would
that's-
you go into someone's house and take their things? And then he goes outside and throws it.
No,
in the
come on.
trash.
It's no. What do you mean? How is that weird? Just don't you take shit from your boyfriends and girlfriends all the time? Just like, hey, you know this social security number you have? Mine. Oh.
And then just throw it in the trash.
He
Yeah, just throw it in the trash. He throws it away.
Why?
That's like I think that they're trying to send a message about what being in a relationship is. It's just they come over, they take your stuff, and they just throw it away. And that's it.
It's accurate from my experience.
Yeah, they throw away your limbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're actually Amazon. I watched this on Amazon Prime Video because I have that, and
Aren't you fiends?
Yeah.
Amazon pointed out that
1, 2,
there's
3
a continuity. There's a continuity error with the arm that I never would have noticed, and which you guys probably didn't. So
Ooh.
when Mickey comes in to Rose's apartment and takes the arm and takes it out and throws it in the trash, it's a right arm. But then the next morning, when the doctor gets there, it's a left arm.
Oh, the whole show. We can't watch it anymore. Okay, this podcast has officially been canceled.
Actually, I made a mistake just now. It's only a left arm in the scene where he throws it in the dumpster. Every other scene, it's a right arm. Yeah. So I imagine
that's the most pointless.
They went on location, right, to do this dumpster toss scene. And they couldn't find a right arm, so they just gave him a left arm to use.
What?
Because they had to go travel so many miles.
How ambiguous? Like, that's just not.
It's just so dumb.
I'm disappointed, but at the same time, why?
Yeah, and also another question: why did she set her alarm clock the next day?
Yeah.
Like, because she wakes up and immediately Jackie goes, "You might as well go back to bed. You don't have a job," and she goes back to bed. But like, if it were me, if my job got blown up, I would immediately be like, "Well, no work tomorrow." Like, that would be my first thought.
No, it's
and
like,
I would
wait,
immediately turn
no
off
work
my alarm
tomorrow,
clock.
followed by, oh my god, my friends are dead.
Yeah, exactly.
First thought,
well, and nobody died except for Wilson, the electrician,
who was already dead.
Yeah. So then, okay, so what happens next? So that morning, I don't understand why the doctor was looking through the cat door on the front door. Because obviously the arm crawled back in through the cat door.
Yeah.
And Jackie, you saw the nails on the ground, so you know that Jackie had nailed the cat door shut, and the arm pushed its way through anyway. But then why is the doctor...
I thought that the doctor was pushing nails through the fucking door, and I was very confused why. It's like he was trying... It makes more sense
now, doesn't it?
I thought he was trying to get Rose's attention because he's just a doctor and he's weird like that. I'm just like, okay, I'll just go like this.
He clearly doesn't understand that she lived there. Like that was.
Yeah, I know. I just kind of went with it like, okay, there's gonna be some continuity errors. This is just made for TV.
The idea is the arm. The arm, I think, crawled back in through the cat door.
Yeah, that makes way more sense.
Then
it does bring up that question. Just that is a very good question.
So then they do the whole. Oh, there was a scene that I wanted to play that had where the doctor meets Jackie for the first time, and she's in her robe.
She's so like, that's the weirdest scene. That was so uncomfortable.
There's a strange man in my bedroom. Anything could happen, and the doctor just goes,
"Yeah,
no," and
that
walks
is
away.
By far the most uncomfortable scene I've ever experienced on television. Wow.
Wait until we get to Game of Thrones, Bryce.
That's just natural, Ryan.
Game of Thrones is realistic. I don't know about you.
Sorry, not to skip ahead, but the last 5 minutes of that episode where there's rape, incest, and the murder of a child. That's natural.
Hey, Ryan, no spoilers. Come on.
Okay, well, we'll get there.
What if some people just want to watch the Doctor's part of this or the Dragon's part of this, and they haven't seen the other show, but are planning on?
Okay.
No,
I haven't thought of that, Bryce. I guess I don't know what to say to that.
Is that a Futurama reference?
No, but most of the things that I say are. So, anyway. So where were we? So yeah, strange man in my bedroom, and then they do the gag where the arm is strangling the doctor, and Rose thinks that the doctor is just playing around.
Yeah.
Same way that Mickey was the previous night.
I love the scene when he throws it off himself. And it just comes right back at him.
Yeah.
That's a great shot.
And I love how she breaks the table and just nothing happens afterwards. They just leave.
I know. And Jackie was in the next room. She didn't even notice.
Maybe
she was drying her hair.
No. I mean, I mean, she saw the doctor, and you saw how she was looking. She might have been doing a different activity. All I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
The dryer could have been noise canceling.
Well, hair dryers can have multiple uses.
Just wow. But hey, that's just a theory.
It's just a theory. So you have a theory officially. That's the first one.
First official theory that
I don't think it's disprovable.
Rose's mom. Later episodes. Ah, shit! Wait. They just bring back that scene, and you find out she was actually just this alien from another planet crafting something.
So your theory is that every time Jackie is off camera, something's going on there.
Something's going on. I don't know what it is.
She's whatever it is, she's really getting into it.
Yeah, she's just really in the tennis, man.
Every time Jackie is not in a scene. Okay. Good theory.
Oh no. But it has to be preceded with a scene that had her and Doctor Who in it.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense to me. Because I can't wait until we get to some later episodes. Oh man. Okay. So there's a really long tracking shot that I kind of liked with the Doctor and Rose just walking when they leave her building, where it's all one continuous shot and the camera's just moving backwards, and I like that shot.
I find is that conversation lasted way too long though.
It did, but
it lasted like a minute too long.
I was just gonna say though, I felt it was kind of necessary to set all that up, because if you're going into this with no knowledge of who the Doctor is and everything, you kind of have to have all of that background information somehow. And this scene provided a lot of that. There was also a really nice monologue the Doctor gave at the end of that, where he's talking about, I wish I could play it. He's talking about the Earth is spinning and he can feel it and blah blah blah.
Yeah, the Earth is spinning. I can feel every single moment.
That was another really good. That was the first moment in this episode where it really felt like Doctor Who to me. Where it really felt like it was an episode of this show.
So is the Doctor extrasensory, or is he's greater than human, correct? I know he's from a different planet, but
he's not human. He's an alien.
He's a higher intelligence life form from a different planet.
So he's higher intelligence. That's what I was getting at.
Well,
I mean, in some areas, yes, but
he's also
socially
900
inept.
years old.
What?
Okay.
We'll find that out. We'll find that out in another episode or two. But
why did you have to spoil it?
Are you done? Okay.
We'll do that every time you reveal detail from.
But anyway, he's very old. his species lives for a long time. So part of it is just that he's had a very long life to accumulate a lot of knowledge and
I thought
experience.
that we already knew that because we already have a scene which is with Clive.
Which is what?
With the Doctor Who fanatic.
Oh yeah.
With we had that scene where he talks about how he was at Krakatoa when it blew up. He was
that's after
at
this
JFK, but that was in this episode.
Yeah.
So we do get like that insight that this Doctor there's something fishy, and age seems to have a play in that, and that was probably assumed.
That, as we find out later, though.
But yeah, he can manipulate time. Yeah. But if you manipulate time, there's it kind of was given to us on a silver platter that he's not, since he's not human. Why would he be of human age? Why would he have that same restriction? It wouldn't make sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so we'll get to know him better.
I'll give you a pass. I'll give you a pass on that spoiler.
Okay. So anyway, I liked that monologue. It felt like a real Doctor Who moment. And then I like that he tells Rose to go home, and she starts to go home, and then he just walks into the TARDIS, which just appears to be this box, right? Ooh, and takes off, and it makes the noise. It makes the noise. Gone. Yeah, she runs back and it's gone. But then she doesn't go home. If you recall.
Yeah, she goes to Clive.
No, she doesn't go to Clive yet. She has to look up information about the Doctor.
Yeah.
Don't read my emails.
She goes to fuck. Don't read my.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's where I was going next. She goes to Mickey's place, his flat, because this is in London, and they call it a flat. And he is really creepy when she walks in. He's like, "Oh, there's my woman," and like slaps her ass, and then he literally does that. Go back and watch it if you don't.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna.
She asks to use his computer, and he goes, "Don't check my emails. Don't read my emails." What is going on with this guy?
And then
I have a theory that he's been emailing her mother. Ooh.
Save it. I like that theory a lot. So,
Doctor. Google searches just Doctor.
Yeah, that is.
Not Google. Searchwise.net. That's what it is.
Oh man. To be fair, people were really inept at the time. It's like people weren't that inept. I'd like to believe, but at the same time, people were that inept in 2005.
It's 2005 though. The internet had been around for a while.
Yeah, but
I was a kid, but I was on the internet at that point. Like, I was playing RuneScape with my friends.
If you don't use the internet and your life doesn't revolve around that, because hers clearly didn't, then there would be an understanding that she just doesn't understand that when we type in Doctor, you're gonna get every instance of Doctor on the internet.
Well, true, but I mean, Rose is young. Like, she's a young woman.
Quote unquote young. She might not, just because you're young, like, we still have, like...
Okay,
the IT department at our college is, like, super busy a lot of the time still.
I can't remember if they said it in this episode, or if it's the next episode, but Rose is 19 years old. The character.
19.
The actress Billie Piper's a little bit older than that, but the character is supposed to be 19, which means that if this is 2005, she was born in 1986.
Yes.
She's of the internet age.
She's the dawn of the internet age.
Yeah, so she should be a little more tech savvy than that.
I agree, but I'm just trying to come at it with the lightest point of view because of how awful this episode was.
I understand.
Like, I'm just trying to put like a silver lining there, just because. Oh God, there are some scenes on here where you just look at, like, for example, when you introduce the Clive and the boy Mickey ends up.
Oh God, I love
with that trash can.
I love how. She goes to meet with Clive, and Mickey apparently has a car, so Mickey drives her how this guy got a driver's license, I don't know. But
it was
so I
driven
have
by a
more
willful
Mickey
for pizza.
I have more Mickey theories coming up in a second, but so
you
Mickey
have
drives,
theories? The guy
I
who's
do.
watched the show 5
What?
times?
Okay. Anyway, they go to they go to Clive's house. I love the line when she talks to Clive's son at the door, and he goes, "Dad, it's one of your nutters," and meaning a crazy person.
Nutter.
Yeah,
that's a great word.
That's a very English word, and so
Nutter.
I like when Clive's wife is talking to him from upstairs, and he's like, "Oh, she's here to talk about the doctor," and she's like, "She's a she, and she wants to know about the doctor." I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So they go into the shed, and he's telling her all that information about the doctor. Bryce already mentioned this, that the doctor was at the
Krakatoa, JFK,
Krakatoa, the Titanic. All these places.
They use the same picture.
Yeah,
like photoshopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2005.
It's real bad.
I have seen Lost, and that is basically how they did it in 2005.
Did Doctor Who shoot Kennedy? Is that what they're saying?
He is not called Doctor Who.
Pictures where he's like looking real creepy.
He's the Doctor, not Doctor Who.
He's the Doctor, yeah.
And the reason why the show's called Doctor Who is because you're supposed to respond, Doctor Who? The Doctor.
And
Doctor Who? And they fucked it up. They were like, Doctor what?
There's a point there's a point later where Rose keeps fucking it up, where she keeps going, Doctor what? Doctor what is it? All that stuff, and not saying Doctor Who.
Yeah, and it's just like, you're toying with the audience that wants to hear that again. Like, come on.
Yeah, and you will hear it eventually.
Yeah.
Just not in this first episode.
I guess, they didn't want it to be a smooth transition.
There was a weird thing that I don't like about this first episode, where when the doctor shows up at Rose's apartment, and this is back earlier, he's like looking at himself in the mirror, like he's looking at his face for the first time, which this isn't spoiling anything for you guys. You already know this. The doctor regenerates from time to time.
Yeah, that's kind of
changes faces. So the implication is that he's just regenerated, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And yet he has this history of being at the Kennedy assassination in Krakatoa. Yeah. And you figure, well, okay, that's fine. He's a time traveler. That's in his future still. Even though it's in Rose's past, it's in the doctor's future. But again, I don't want to spoil stuff for you guys. They never go to those places.
I thought
it
that
bothers me.
Like
it really does.
Well, they might have done it off camera.
Yeah, and that's the only explanation, but I just don't like it.
But it's a cheap cop out way, and it doesn't really give anything to the viewer.
So
hell yeah.
At the very end, I'll have a theory about this, but anyway, so okay, while Rose is in the shed, which, okay, by the way, if you're a 19-year-old girl and a much older man says, "Come into my shed," I don't think you go in there.
But to be fair, she's very, very naive, and there was a family with a son.
Oh yeah, Rose is super naive.
Rose is a little bit of a klutz mentally,
Yep. So anyway, meanwhile, while that's going on, Mickey fights a trash can, and
then he turns into Salzor
and loses.
And loses. So the garbage can is just like inching up closer and closer to the car. He gets out of the car, opens it up, expecting there to be a kid inside, as you do. And and then there's no kid inside, and so he tries to close it, and his hands are stuck, and so he wrestles with this trash bin, and then the trash bin eats him and belches. And then when Rose comes back out to the car, Mickey looks
Salzor.
looks ridiculous.
Pizza.
Oh my god!
Pizza.
Like how do you?
God, that was a fantastic.
So there's all the. She gets in the car and she's like, "Okay, he's crazy. Do you want to get pizza?" And he's like, "Pizza." He's stammering like an idiot, and then he's stammering.
He's driving like a nutter.
He's driving like, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that. So he's just swerving all over the road. How does it not ever occur to her that something is wrong?
She's
Maybe that's
just naive.
And that's what I was going to say before.
Yeah, like that's how bad he drives.
That's just how Mickey normally drives. He's just a horrible driver. So how did he get a car and a driver's license if he is that bad?
Britain, you never know.
Yeah, man.
It's the country.
If their driving is anything like their teeth.
Wow, racism.
Yeah.
The whole country of England, the race of England.
By the way, side note, since we are doing 2 British shows on this podcast, it is worth mentioning, and I don't care about this at all, but it's worth mentioning that today there was apparently a royal wedding.
Yeah.
Like
apparently.
It's just a coincidence that we happen to be recording this episode the same day.
Yeah. Apparently there was Henry VIII that was getting married today or something. Queen Anne or something.
Anne Boleyn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like actually Americans care about that stuff more than a lot of British people do. Which is just strange
they
to me.
don't.
I don't
Only
understand
middle-aged divorced wives love it, and there's
and my grandmother who got up early to watch it today.
A lot of people who used to live under the crown like it. I think a lot of people in India might, but don't ever quote me on that. I have no knowledge of what India's like.
Okay.
Contact with Sean.
We need to put him in touch with Sean.
Yeah.
Sean is our one Indian friend.
The only one Indian person in all of Wisconsin.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyway, back to Doctor Who because this is taking too long to get through this bad episode. So, then of course he's doing the weird thing when they're at the restaurant where he's trying to interrogate her about the doctor, and he's doing that weird like, babe, sugar, sweetheart thing.
Yeah.
Like he does it twice.
It's just like.
That's creepy and stupid.
That's just so...
And she still doesn't notice that something's wrong with him.
He's an idiot.
How can you be sitting there talking to this guy, looking at this guy?
Offers champagne.
Also, wait a minute. He touches her hand, and she doesn't notice that he's made of plastic.
Yep.
What?
Yep. Oh, your hands are cold. Oh, that's normal.
It's just frustrating to me.
No, it's very frustrating. Almost as frustrating as
the doctor shooting a champagne cork into your forehead.
Not only that, the fact that she finds out that it takes her forever to actually fully like react to her boyfriend being like found dead, quote unquote, basically.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, we'll get to that.
That's like what? Only a whimper.
So the doctor pulls Mickey's head off, and then he runs outside with Mickey's head. But by the way, when he first does that, and Mickey's head still like says a line to him, like you're not gonna stop me. The guy in the background who screams. Oh man, that is the best part of this episode. That scream.
Where's the Wilhelm scream when I need it?
Yeah, exactly. That would have been good. That was good.
That was good.
Very, very nice. So, anyway, they get outside and there's a locked gate, and Rose is telling the doctor, use your sonic screwdriver to open it, and he doesn't. And instead, he goes inside the TARDIS, which is out there. And so Rose is like, you can't just hide in a wooden box, and she follows him into the TARDIS.
Eventually, it takes her like a minute.
Well, yeah,
it's one of the most annoying scenes. Just fucking go in, damn it.
she does the thing. She ran inside and then ran back out and ran around the thing and then went back in, which is a classic Doctor Who thing. Because anytime anyone new is exposed to the TARDIS, a lot of them do that. You're gonna see that again. I'm sorry,
so
but
gross.
you will see that again.
Oh man, if it's a trademark thing, I think I can let it pass. But oh boy,
it kind of is. And Rose is not the worst one either. Like her running around the TARDIS is not that bad compared to like.
Oh, that's not. You're not selling your. Not doing a good job of selling the show.
There are good and bad episodes of this show. What can I say?
You see, this is where Game of Thrones differs. There've never been a bad episode.
Well, so far they're 1 for 1 on good episodes, in my opinion. 100%. Anyway,
10 out of 10 episodes.
Anyway, so the head melts into the TARDIS console.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, this is also where it's revealed that the Doctor is an alien, because she asks him if he's an alien, and he says yes. So that's where this is first revealed, and that's important. The head melts into the console. The Doctor tries to trace it. They do the whole bit where he's looking for a giant round transmitter in the middle of London. Yeah. And he can't find it when the London Eye is right behind him. That's really
cute. That's just one of those cute scenes. I didn't mind it.
Also, there's a great line in there which I love, which is where Rose says, "If you're an alien, how come you sound like you're from the North?" And the Doctor replies, "Lots of planets have a north." And I absolutely love that. Fun fact, that's a line that I've quoted exactly once. And this is the story.
All about how?
William was actually with me on this trip, though he wasn't present for this conversation. We were playing in a chess tournament in Nashville, which is down south.
Yeah.
Listeners know by this point that we all have Midwest accents.
I don't.
Bryce just has food in his mouth. So anyway, I was at this tournament and I met someone who was one of my opponents, and she was actually from Nashville, like she lived nearby, and she was like, "Now you don't sound like you're from." I can't do a Southern accent. You don't sound like.
No. Wait. You don't try that again. I want to hear you do that in the accent.
I can't. Ryan, this is the thing. I was trying to do Maggie from The Walking Dead, and it just didn't work.
Oh
so
my God.
I'm not gonna try again.
Wow.
But anyway, it was. She's like, "You don't sound like you're
town ain't big enough
here." She's like, "It doesn't sound like you're from here. You must be from further north." And I said, "Lots of planets have a north." And of the 6 people who were listening to this conversation, none of them got it. So that was fun. And that's basically what my life was like for about 4 years, of just quoting Doctor Who and nobody understanding me. So
I'm
anyway,
just looking at you in disgust.
Yeah, but "Lots of planets have a north" is one of my favorite lines from this early run of episodes. I really like that line because they had to justify the Doctor not being British, and so they just did it in a very subtle way. Lots of planets have a north.
You think we are the only planet with a British accent? Come on.
Yeah. So anyway, they figure out that it's the London Eye, and they go down below it to where the Nestine consciousness is, which is controlling all of the plastic on Earth. And there was a great joke about breast implants in there too. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah, I caught that.
What?
That was, yeah, because the Doctor was like, the Nestine consciousness can control all the plastic on Earth. Think about all the things that are made of plastic. And he's listing all these things, and then Rose just goes, "Breast implants." And I thought that was funny.
Oh, no.
So they get down below, and I love this, too, because they get down there, and they see the Nestine, and Rose sees Mickey huddled in a corner. He's been captured, of course. And she goes and runs to him. And in my head, for some reason, when I had watched this episode, every time in my head, I just inserted this part where she's untying his hands, or
but it never happens
because, as it turns out, he wasn't even tied up.
Yep.
He's just hiding in the
He
corner.
could have gotten up and walked away, and he just sat there crying.
He's such he's made out to be this little boy, and it's so.
Oh my god, he is. He's just a child in a man's body.
Oh man.
So he can't drive.
He can't drive. Oh man.
It
all works together.
He likes pizza, and he says pizza like pizza.
No, that was the plastic version.
That might have been the plastic, but it was pretending to be him, so it counts.
So anyway, they have their fight scene. We get a death when the Nestine consciousness starts broadcasting its signal to control all of the mannequins, and they burst out of the shop windows. They of course kill poor old Clive.
Yeah, if I was able to get a bot, I was gonna play Tupac's Life Goes On, where he plays "How many brothers fell victim to the streets, rest in peace." I was just gonna play that soundbite and nothing else. I was thinking of doing that or playing the Friends theme song, so no one told you life is gonna be this way. Which are both perfect soundbites for that perfect scene of him just looking like, I was right all along. Bang!
I don't think there's a possible way you could improve that. I mean, those are the perfect sound bites. So they kill poor old Clive, and it's like, why did they have to kill him?
Yeah, I like Clive.
As will be our new tradition on this podcast, whenever someone dies, good God, Captain.
Good God.
Good God, Captain.
We must say, good God, Captain.
Good God, Captain.
So Clive gets killed, and probably a bunch more people too that we didn't see.
So how many good God captains is that?
Well, we just do the ones we can confirm. So Clive.
That one dead body in the background.
So yeah, it's an exciting fight scene. Rose and Mickey the doctor tells them to run away, and the stairs have collapsed, so they run to the TARDIS and they can't get in because it's locked. And Mickey is just hugging Rose's ankles.
Yeah.
Because he's a scared little child. And then Rose decides to swing down and rescue the doctor, and she knocks the the anti-plastic into the living plastic, the Nestine, and it destroys it.
The anti-plastic?
Anti-plastic, because we needed a plot device.
Yep. It's anti-plastic. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds legit to me.
Yep.
So yeah, they destroy it just before the
girl power.
Just before the mannequins in wedding dresses are about to kill Jackie.
Yeah.
And then I love how like Rose calls her mom to check if she's okay, and then she hears her mom talking and just hangs up.
Yep.
Like, immediately.
Just like, no, not dealing with this. I don't care.
So then the doctor, of course, they got into the TARDIS and flew off, and they land in some alley somewhere.
Yep.
Why they couldn't have just gone to Rose's house, I don't know.
Yeah.
So Mickey runs out of the TARDIS just scared out of his mind.
This is one of the lamest scenes at the end.
Cowers in the corner, and then he's just like, Rose comes out and he's just like hugging her around the waist because he's scared.
Yep.
Like, what? You'd think that by now he would have had enough time to like gather himself
and just act like a fucking adult.
At least stand up and act like an adult. But no, he doesn't.
But it's funny.
The other thing about this scene is that I wanted to play this again. Rose, the doctor says, you could come with me, travel through space.
Yeah,
anything,
and
blah,
then
blah,
it's
blah.
like,
and she goes, well, no, I got to look after my mom, and someone has to take care of this.
And then he's gone, and then he comes. Oh God,
well, no, wait. Because
that's now sad. He's gone.
When she says someone has to take care of this old lump.
Yep.
she laughs a little bit. And I think that she was supposed to say that line completely straight, but Billie Piper, the actress, could not do it. She just kept laughing every time, and that was just the best take that they got because it was such a ridiculous scene, and she could not do it with a straight face. That is my theory about this scene.
Because it's so why? You didn't need it. It's so unnecessary, and they're trying to be cute and quirky, and it just comes off as awkward and poor.
It just comes off as Mickey is just such a, oh my god, I just hate him so much in this episode. And we will see Mickey again, and he's much better in his other appearances than in this episode.
Yeah, I should hope.
But
wow.
I mean, you can't really go anywhere but up from here.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing worse than this is a pedophile. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and as far as I know, maybe there's
theory.
Maybe there's a theory here. I don't think Mickey's a pedophile.
No.
But anyway, this is my other theory with the scene. The doctor says, "You could come with me." She says no. He flies away, and then he comes back a couple seconds later and says, "Did I mention that it also travels in time?" And then she runs in, and the episode ends. My theory is that in that couple of seconds, that's when the doctor went to all of those places where he was in the pictures before.
Because why would Rose be there?
Well, yeah, exactly. That was my thought. Like, if this was the picture of the Kennedy assassination, for example, Rose would have been there too, if she had been with him. So this is the only opportunity that the doctor would have had to go and have all those adventures on his own, and that's what I think. That's the only explanation that makes any sense. So that's me defending the continuity of the show. So that takes us to the end of this episode. And that, I mean, what an episode it was. What did you guys think overall of this episode? We've gotten some of your thoughts, but
I thought that a lot of things they swung at, they missed.
Yeah.
A lot of strikes in this episode, and they were out very quickly.
Yeah, it's a good thing they don't play baseball in England.
I feel as though as like a plot device, it's like it's fine, like to use it in the grand scheme of things. Like, okay, it was an intro, it kind of fell flat, but if you're gonna use this as an intro, it can hold if the other episodes can hold their merit as well. This one, it's rough.
It is really rough.
I'm giving it a 3 out of 10, if anything.
That's interesting. By the way, we are rating this. This is how many sonic screwdrivers do you give this episode? So zero sonic screwdrivers, which, by the way, if you didn't already know this, that's the little device that the doctor has that unlocks doors and such. So 0 sonic screwdrivers out of 10 would be the worst episode of television you've ever seen. It would basically be Sub Rosa from Star Trek: The Next Generation. The episode, William, it's the episode where Dr. Crusher sleeps with a ghost.
That's fucking awful, man.
It is really awful.
That is a 0.
Yeah, haha, Star Wars,
am I right? Yeah, Star Wars. So anyway, that's what would be an example of a 0. An example of a 10 would be like Face Off, the season 4 finale of Breaking Bad, which is just the best episode of television ever made. The one where they.
That's a good one to pick, though. If you're gonna pick one.
Oh yeah, I know. I thought for a long time about what my 2 examples were going to be.
I wouldn't agree with you, but I respect Face Off. Especially with the fucking foreshadowing in that season from the beginning in the pool. But this is a show about
great show, great episode, but we're not here to talk about that. So you are giving it a 3 sonic screwdrivers out of 10.
Oh yeah.
Okay, William, what do you give it?
So for me, 5 is completely indifferent.
Completely indifferent. Okay,
yeah.
that makes
So I'm
sense.
not giving it that. I'm going to give it like a 5.1. So it's quirky.
A tenth of a sonic screwdriver. We have the components.
And it was weird enough that it kept me interested. And I'd say I slightly enjoyed it. So
5.1.
yeah, so very, very neutral but slight enjoyment.
I can accept that.
What did you give it, Ryan?
Here's my thought on the rating. So just looking at what this episode is on its own with no context, I actually completely agree with your ranking, Bryce. I would give it a 3. However, because it's Doctor Who and I know what's coming next, and I know that this episode does a lot of world building and sets up a lot of stuff, I'm going to give it an extra point. So I'm giving it a 4 out of 10 sonic screwdrivers.
All right. Yeah.
And our average, by the way, is
4.05, 4.033.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.033.
4.033 out of 10 sonic screwdrivers for that episode, and for the series so far.
Yikes.
Yeah. So this will be fun.
What a bad series.
Yeah, I promise it'll get better.
This is one promise. You never make promises you can't keep.
Well, I can keep this one. Just wait until we get to it'll be episode 6 of Doctor Who, episode 5 of our podcast, Dalek. All-time great episode. It is up there. It might even be in my top 5.
But we're not talking about Dalek this episode. We're talking about winter now.
We are talking about winter is coming.
It is coming. It is here.
By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this episode is called Winter Rose is Coming.
Yes. The episode of the podcast. I have that written on the screen.
Okay. Because I just don't know if I mentioned that to the listeners, because we didn't want to call it Rose is Coming. We felt that was a little bit...
I didn't even know we wanted to bring that up.
I felt it was okay to bring it up.
I felt that it was okay to make it the title, but somebody thought that was too profane.
Yeah, I thought that was maybe pushing it a little bit.
Now, as we get...
Especially with your Jackie theory. By the way, before we get into Game of Thrones, did we have a cogent theory about Mickey? Or just that he's a really poorly written character, which he...
Oh, he's a poorly written character. No theories here. Like,
you don't think that something's going on with him?
No. What? No.
Okay, fine. We'll come back to this.
Another
day.
On that note,
let's get into Game of Thrones.
Yes. Before we start Game of Thrones, because there's an intro scene in this episode.
The cold open, yes.
Yes. Let's go with something that I want to do, which is compare the introductions for those shows, the actual intro title theme. Because Game of Thrones, I think, has the best introduction to every episode of any series ever made. It is.
You're just talking about the opening theme, the.
Yeah, I like Doctor Who's, but Game of Thrones.
Title. Are you talking about the music, or are you talking about the title screen?
Da 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 da.
That would be music, Bryce.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, but it's the introduction. But the whole thing, whole aesthetic of it, including the. I don't know why. It's called the theme. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Okay. I like both of them. I do really like Game of Thrones.
And by the way,
I must say my favorite one, or one of my favorites, and I don't really even like this show that much, but one of my favorite opening themes is just the theme for Fear the Walking Dead, because it's literally one note. It's just.
But so many other shows do that.
Yeah.
Lost basically did that. That was basically just Lost's theme, where they just play a note louder and louder and louder into the screen as the title screen comes up. Yeah, Doctor Who's is catchy, but what I love about Game of Thrones is that it gives you a grasp of this huge world that you're gonna have to that you have to memorize so many granular details of, kind of, as you're watching.
Yeah.
And with every episode, they make sure that the places that are in the episode are actually shown. so it won't always show the same places in the title screen. Which
that's
is
cool.
Really cool.
Like the title screen.
And you get to see, if you pay attention to the actors, you know which characters are going to be in the episode because it shows their houses by each actor.
Okay.
Which all that whole it's way over the top.
I'll have to pay more attention to that then.
Oh yeah, I didn't discover this until my second time watching through. But it's
cool.
One of those details. Once you memorize it, it's really it just gets you so amped up. I feel.
So yeah, Game of Thrones definitely wins the title screen battle and also the theme song battle. I love the Doctor Who theme, but Game of Thrones is better.
Game of Thrones, I think, does it better than anyone else. Just because it's just so, oh man, aesthetic as fuck, basically.
Okay,
so on that note,
moving into the episode, there's a cold open in this one, and we see these 3 guys.
Yeah, the Night's Watch.
Yeah,
2 Night's Watch. Yeah,
3 of them.
Yeah,
I was always unsure if the center guy was actually a member.
Yeah, I thought so.
He seemed like
he still has his nightly title, and he's ordering them around like he has a title. And if you joined the Night's Watch, you wouldn't think that would be the case.
My thought was they cast that guy wrong. They should have made that actor be one of the other guys, and then the guy with the beard be the leader. It seems weird to have him ordering the guy with the beard around.
It doesn't, because for me at least, because knights are very pretty and prestigious in this show more, and if people with egos tend to lean towards I guess a more aesthetically pretty side, whereas the more noble and the more I guess honorable people are these hardened, toughened warriors of the North. So
okay.
I didn't mind that at all.
I mean, I'll accept it. It's a minor thing.
It's kind of nitpicking, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you get introduced. Oh man.
By the way, so the guy with the asshole who's in charge, he's the first one to die. Good God, Captain.
God, Captain.
All those dead wildlings. Good God.
Well, those are off-screen deaths. They don't count. They weren't really people. So then the White Walkers, we meet them right away, and they are terrifying, and I want to see more.
Oh my God,
aren't they? Oh man, I'm really looking forward to seeing more White Walkers. This is going to be exciting. So they catch up to and kill the guy with the beard next. Good God, Captain. And
God, Captain.
And I don't understand, because the third guy just fell to his knees after the guy with the beard died, and they tossed the head over to him.
Yeah. Well,
then how did he get away?
Well,
at that point?
the White Walkers aren't just. That kind of implies that there's a consciousness, or that they have a choice, and that they're thinking for themselves. White Walkers.
Okay, so are you saying that I don't know enough about White Walkers yet to be able to understand why?
Yeah, I would say
that's fine. I'll leave it at that then. That's fine.
Yeah, as you get more used to their method, or how they act.
White Walkers are terrifying.
They really are.
They are spook level 9,000.
They're not as terrifying as some of the things we're gonna talk about on this podcast, but they are terrifying.
Yeah. I feel as though on screen that the White Walkers will be more terrifying, but in concept, a lot of the things in Doctor Who will be way more terrifying. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I think so.
All
right. So
I also noticed in the scene, might I add, the guy with the beard, he held. No, wait, it wasn't in this scene. It's in the next scene, I think. No, it wasn't this scene. Sorry, where he holds the blade with his hand, if he's holding the
Yeah, I noticed that too. That
was
weird.
I noticed that, and I was like, wait, I can't unsee that now.
It's do you want to cut your thumbs off?
Come on, man.
What is this?
It was one of the Night's Watch, the one with the beard. He was holding the blade with his hand.
Yeah, the guy with the beard was holding his. Yeah. I don't know.
if you go to 505 in the episode, if you pull it up and go to 505, you'll see. But we can continue on as you see that. And then
yeah, I'll go back for it.
7:15, I have in my notes, ooh, what you say? Which I assume is when the guy gets his head chopped off.
What time code was it?
7:15.
No, I had 750. 750 is when the guy gets his head chopped off. So I don't know what that was at 7:15.
All right.
But anyway, they keep saying. So after this, we get to meet the Starks right away.
Yeah.
And by the way, Bryce, you've already told me that she's your favorite character, but
yes,
for this one episode, Arya Stark is automatically my favorite character.
Oh yes, she's so good.
She's great.
Yes.
By the way, I just from the first time you see her, where she's sewing the thing, and then she just gets up and she goes outside and nails the target with it.
Yeah.
Great. Love her already. But so I do have a question though. How are you supposed to pronounce her name?
Arya.
Yeah.
Arya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, I think that's how
there's a character in my favorite book series, which is The Inheritance Cycle, who is also named Arya, but the pronunciation in that book is actually Arya. Like, you pronounce the Y differently.
Yeah, this is.
So I would probably.
Aragon? Or is that something
Yeah,
else?
yeah, that's Aragon in those books. And I looked something up in a book, you guys. I actually looked to see if I was right about that, because he puts a pronunciation guide in the back of his books, and I was right. That is how you're supposed to pronounce it in that book. So I'm probably going to say her name wrong a lot.
That's that's understandable, because that's really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but anyway,
yeah.
She's good.
She's so good. Oh.
And so I found it interesting that they spend so much time with Bran in this pilot, because he gets killed at the end.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Anyway, but whatever. So they have to ride out and execute the guy from the Night's Watch who deserted.
Yeah.
So they go and do that. Good God, Captain. And they took Bran to make him watch.
Yeah.
So that was
yeah. You're trying to get Winter in Game of Thrones, like, they keep building it up. It's supposed to be you find out more about the Winter. It's brutal, and so toughening up your young and like people around you is kind of important. Like,
so that made sense.
So
by the way, and this is probably a spoiler, so you don't have to tell me.
Yeah.
But they say it a few times in this episode. They say winter is coming in reference to, like, the apocalypse, it seems.
It's their, like, clan
That's
motto,
what
I guess you could say.
Winter is coming, not only it's basically, that's just kind of what they
start,
because it's like they're doing
that's the start. Yeah,
it's okay. Because it's like they're doing all these foreshadows where they're like, White Walkers are back, winter is coming. Then there are dire wolves, winter is coming. It's just, it seems weird to me that they're talking about the apocalypse, but it kind of makes sense now that you tell me that that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's cool. And then they find the dire wolves, the pups on the way back.
Ghost.
They don't name it here, but you've told me that the runt of the litter is Ghost.
It's Ghost. Ghost.
And that's where we get the second half of the name of our season for the podcast.
I only remember two of the names off the top of my head, and I remember Arya's because which is Namira.
Okay, but they haven't named him yet.
Yeah, it's not a spoiler.
Yeah, it is, Bryce. If you're gonna give me a hard time about telling you that the Doctor is 900, I'm gonna give you a hard time about this. I don't want to know those wolves' names until I'm supposed to know them.
when they get around to it.
Yeah, when they get around to it, exactly. When the writers get around to it. That's when I want to know. Not before.
So, Ryan, as a first-time watcher, what do you think of Theon Greyjoy? That would be the one who was ready to kill the puppies.
Yeah.
What is your take on him?
So they never said his name, did they? Because he's not in my notes anywhere.
I don't think the name.
They haven't said his name. They said Theon in the episode, but they didn't say Theon Greyjoy.
Okay.
You learn more about him later. I don't know if we should talk a lot about him.
Is he really in any other? Is he really in any other scene?
In this episode? You should suspect that every character that you're introduced to will come back in some way, shape, or form in this show.
No, I'm sure, but he wasn't anywhere else really in this episode. He was just kind of
there.
Yeah,
I don't think we should spend a lot of time yet on him.
Okay.
I do love Theon. Theon is a top 3 character for me.
I'm assuming he's just some guy who's loyal to Ned Stark.
Okay.
That's my assumption.
You'll learn. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just curious as to how that came off, like, initially.
Well, because it just seemed like he was.
Yeah, I know why he's
that. Leader like he was supposed to.
It is really interesting how what happens.
Okay.
Move on.
So moving on from that.
Yeah. So moving on. So. Yeah.
I have roadkill in my notes for when we found the dead fucking direwolf.
Yeah. So that was interesting. So, okay. So what happened next?
Then the king came.
They convinced him. Well, they convinced him to keep all the pups.
Yeah.
And they found Ghost. And said that one can be Jon Snow's
bastard son.
So yeah. Okay. So that goes to him. That's fine. So then the king comes. And they do the whole procession thing.
Yeah. They do all that. Well, at first we're introduced to the hand was assassinated, and we know why, because
that's right.
We're like he was poisoned technically, but we know who killed him. The Targaryens.
Yep.
And they come to Winterfell. And we're introduced to a character that wasn't named in the episode, but if you notice, one of the knights kind of looked way more badass than the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did notice.
And I'm just going to say right now, another one of my favorite characters, right there. I'm just going to...
Okay.
You're going to like him a lot. And that's all I'm going to say about him. I just wanted to mention, you should be excited whenever you see him on screen.
All right, I will keep that in mind.
Yes.
I hope that's not a spoiler.
There's no spoilers in that. I'm just saying that I know that you're gonna.
What if I don't like him?
Well, then I'm a liar. And then you can never trust me again, and that works great because then I can't spoil anything. I'm thinking ahead.
Okay. Okay, so we meet all of the Lannister people.
Yes, the Lannisters. Tyrion. What do you think about Tyrion? How do you think of him?
I like him so far.
The dwarf? Yes. But what about Cersei and Jaime? At this point in the episode, let's not talk about so far, but how did Jaime come off at first?
That's a tough question to answer. I initially didn't like him, because like in the first scene where you see him, see him, and I had to look up the queen's name because they never actually. It's Cersei, yeah. So you see them together initially. That's the first time you see them, and I didn't like him initially. He just seemed like really arrogant. Well,
yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah, and
you'll find out why. But yeah,
I guess you're supposed to not like him. Yeah. That's kind of the thing.
You're supposed to not like the Lannisters. That's a running theme in the show.
Yeah.
That's just their culture.
So, all right.
Oh man.
So yeah, that's I don't know. And does the king is Robert? Is
Robert
that right?
Baratheon, yes.
Okay.
Robert of House Baratheon.
Okay. Because they only said his name like once.
They mentioned Robert
Maybe
quite a few
more.
times, and I mean Robb Stark is named after Robert Baratheon.
Well, and I figured that out eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Second watching, I figured that out.
Yeah.
So
they have that big feast afterwards. Before Tyrion eats first, on his own time, and then they go to have a feast. Which is and another scene where Arya just is flawless.
Yeah.
Again, capturing why she's great. Well, first, before they have the feast, they go into the cellar and they visit the daughter's grave, which is in the catacombs with all the rest of the Starks. And he's talking about like how she was supposed to be my wife, and it's kind of like this expository game of what happened before Game of Thrones starts, which is really needed in the show. To build world building. Memorizing facts like that is going to help you in the long run a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I wrote a bunch of that stuff down because, like, I know it's going to be important later.
Oh, yeah.
I remember my first watch through. I would often get confused where it's like sometimes things would be referenced from, like, 3 or 4 seasons beforehand.
Yeah,
and you haven't heard about it since then. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
like, I don't remember this.
Because of how this show works, it's hard to fill in keep reminding the audience, so it really rewards the watcher who is really keen and watchful. Good watchers will be rewarded.
Okay.
It's pretty much almost all information is like useful to some degree. Whereas like a lot of shows, there's a lot of filler.
There's not a lot of filler in this show, if any.
It's like weird things that seem like fillers most of the time aren't fillers. They're like you should remember them, sort of thing. And a lot of the time it's just little bits of interest you get, but sometimes it's really important.
Yeah, and I like that. It like so far.
It's good. It makes this show so colorful. All right, and then after you get all this feast, we're introduced to the other people.
By the way, before we get to that, I liked the interaction between Tyrion and Jon Snow.
Oh, yeah, we cannot skip that scene. That is probably my favorite scene.
That was a good scene. Yeah.
It is the best scene in the episode, and that is later on actually in the episode. I think that actually happens, but because that does happen later in the episode. That's because they introduce the Targaryens in between that, and then they go back. They're trying to tell multiple stories at once, and they all try and kind of connect loosely. Mm-hmm. But the Targaryens, we can get to them.
Yeah,
Jon Snow and Tyrion.
The plan here is so Jon Arryn was the one who was murdered, right? I'm just trying to recap to make sure I have everything. So he's the one who's murdered, and the king wants to make Ned his new hand.
Hand is like the advisor of the king.
Right. Yeah.
Second hand man. Right hand man, actually. The guy who is second in command.
Second hand man.
Second hand man. I tried to say second in command and right hand man at the same time.
Yeah, I figured that out, but it was funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wants to make Ned his new hand, and in order to do that, they're gonna marry Sansa and Joffrey to each other.
Yep.
So
they're both excited about.
Yeah, they both seem super into that idea.
I mean,
which is
Sansa loves it because who doesn't want to be a queen? Who doesn't want to be a princess? She's
that's
all
like the highest.
Oh my
God,
the
highest thing she can possibly achieve in her life.
Oh man, looking back at this show for me, because this is gonna be my third time watching through. One of my favorite parts about the show is how characters develop over time. And watching the first episode over, you just get hit immediately with just nostalgia of, oh man, the character flaws and how they, oh man, that's all great. It's all great how this show improves over time.
All right. So we So John Aaron was like a mentor to
Yeah,
both Robert
he's
and
like
Ned Stark.
I think he was more of a teacher, yeah, or like a mentor.
I think
type.
He's supposed to be like a dad figure for
yeah,
Ned,
a fatherly figure.
Okay.
I know Ned's.
Because Ned's father was well, we'll learn about him. We'll learn about It is referenced that he was killed in this episode. That Ned's father and brother. What that happened? That was referenced in this episode. It was a one-liner, and I think if you're watching for the first time, you're gonna miss it. If you've seen the show before, you're gonna hear it immediately. But you'll find out more about what that all is. That's exposition will happen naturally. But upon... Is there anything else we want to talk about with the Starks and Targaryens at this moment?
I'm getting mixed up with like information I know.
Yeah, it's hard.
Show,
we have to be very, very, very careful.
Yeah.
There's
honestly,
like things I want to ask,
me,
like, did we learn this? But I can't remember.
Like, I had the same struggle in the Doctor Who discussion. Like, it's hard not to.
It's
interject.
painful, but I think we're gonna get better and better at it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we can move on to the Targaryens. So,
hell no to the no. Just seeing. No, that is my response to that whole entire scene where you just see the brother strip Daenerys.
Yeah.
What was his name again? I do forget his name.
Viserys?
Viserys, yeah, that's his name. I remember Daenerys. But yeah.
By the way, I mentioned this to Bryce when I first watched this. So it's not in this scene because I don't think Daenerys actually says anything. But
she's...
later when she has a couple lines, like I recognized her voice. And I figured out what it was from, and I really wanted to play a clip, but we'll have to save that for the next episode.
Can you give us what the clips was from? Because I do forget.
I could, but I think for comedic effect, it would be better if I didn't.
Okay. Isn't it a Futurama episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It was a side character in a Futurama episode where
she was a side character. Yeah, because of course by that point she was famous for having played Daenerys, so she got to do fun things like that.
That's funny. That is funny.
Yeah, but it was funny. Yeah. Anyway, so they're kind of interesting. So they were the previous kings before Robert, or what?
Yes. Their father was the king before Robert Baratheon, the one that Robert overthrew. You'll learn more about this king. I will not say anything more about this king because the exposition about him happens a lot.
Fair enough.
And
fair enough.
A good job of that.
So Viserys, his main motivation is to get the throne back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a power hungry.
Yeah, well, and I mean that came across very clearly.
Yes.
But so he doesn't have any way of raising his, so he's essentially using the Dothraki as mercenaries, sort of.
He's selling his sister off so that he can get the services.
So and I figured this out. I didn't figure this out until the second watch, but Khal is a title.
Yeah,
right?
Khal.
And then
like
Khaleesi is also a title.
Khaleesi is like Khanate.
Okay, gotcha.
They're like the Mongols. They're hordes. They're literally hordes. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Gotcha. So, so they do the scene where they meet Drogo for the first time.
Khal Drogo.
One
of the most badass and lovable characters.
I don't know if he's that lovable yet.
He's lovable.
Okay. I'll take your
Look at those pecs. You gotta love those, right?
You just stare at him. He's staring 7 feet tall next to a 5 Daenerys, and you're just like, they're a match made in heaven.
So they meet, and then the Dothraki ride off, and they do the scene where they're talking, and she says, "I don't want to be married to him."
Yep.
Yeah.
She's not happy. She's not.
She's not really a willing participant in this.
Well, I mean that is to be expected in a time.
Yeah, it is.
The aesthetic of this whole thing.
Well, and it's fine. It fits with the
yeah,
like you said, it fits with the aesthetic of the show, but it's
still
a little bit. It's mildly upsetting, at least.
It's supposed to upset you.
It's supposed to be.
If like that didn't upset you, then like get help, please. Like I'm not kidding. Please see a doctor.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've talked to a few people who've watched this for the first time, and I always get the impression that Viserys is almost universally the most hated character.
Oh yeah.
It seems like you're supposed to hate him.
Most hated character in the show until I think season 4. And
like later
there's one character that comes along that everyone now universally agrees was way worse, but that
like off the bat, that's the impression you get from that guy.
Like, Viserion is a bad human being in all retrospects. Now,
okay, so
then
we get to I don't know, because we're jumping around because the episode jumps between the two places, but we get to eventually the wedding, which was an interesting scene.
Yes, the wedding. Well, where you got the sex, violence, and everything and drinking. Which is really horde-like, really barbaric, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed
like
to
everything
really
you would expect.
Yep.
It's everything you would expect from a wedding.
Oh, the royal wedding.
Yeah, the royal. The royal wedding.
Yep.
Why couldn't it have been a Dothraki wedding?
Hey, if there aren't 3 dead, then is it really a Dothraki wedding?
It's a dull affair.
It's a dull affair.
So, okay, this takes me to a theory that I had.
Oh yes.
I mentioned to Bryce. So, Daenerys gets some dragon eggs as a gift. It's a wedding present, and this theory is not going to hold up. I know that.
All right.
But when I saw the dragon eggs, they're all covered in dirt, kind of, on one side at least, and they look kind of like pine cones. So my thought is,
what?
What is this theory?
I think, bear with me, that dragons in this universe grow on trees.
We won't spoil that for you, Ryan.
Am I right?
We'll see if your theory holds up.
Right.
We will. I mean, anything's possible when you think about Dr. Seuss.
So anyway, that was my one theory. I think that dragons grow on trees in this universe. And I'm probably wrong, but that was anyway. So
that happens.
That's my one theory, but anyway, it was Yep. So she gets the dragon eggs, and she gets a horse, I guess, as a gift also.
Oh yeah. And they get a pretty horse that matches her from the knight. The Sir. A lot of names I have forget.
What's his name?
Jorah Mormont.
Yeah, that's right. Sir Jorah Mormont.
Okay.
I remember that now.
So he's like a loyal subject of the old king.
I don't. Do they say what he really?
He works
because he says I always hope to serve the rightful king, and he's talking.
Yeah, he served the old king.
Okay.
Gonna not say any more about that because I'm not confident.
No, fair enough.
And spoilers are always really, if you're not confident, then spoilers are gonna happen. So shut up when you can. So then Daenerys and Drogo are gonna have, as after weddings do, their.
Right. I'm trying to think if there was anything else we missed on the Stark side of this.
You miss Jon and then wanting to join the Night's Watch.
They had the Night's Watch, I guess.
Yeah.
That was you can tell what you're basically implied is that you can tell how ashamed I can't think of her name. Mom, the Starks.
Cat.
Yeah, that's. You can tell that she's really like embarrassed and ashamed that Jon Stark exists because the bastard
Jon
implies
Snow.
cheating.
Snow. Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, where does the name Snow come from? I'm just
Snow is
curious.
a bastard, a son in this universe. Snow just means you're a bastard son. Because sand is a bastard god, I think, right? It's sand. Because there's someone I think called Sand later. And
there's a couple other like bastard like characters with like different. Every region has because it's just in the north that it would be Snow.
No, it's Snow if it's a man. It's a boy.
Yeah.
Sand if it's a girl.
But if you were like in King's Landing, would you still call them Snow?
I think
like if you were born there? So it's like universal.
Okay. You could be right. I could be right. It's anyway. Snow just implies bastardhood. That's what it implies. So everybody knows immediately that you're a bastard. Yeah. That it's supposed to like tell everyone immediately. So, and basically, if Jon goes to the Night's Watch, he's bound there by life. It's one of those sacred things.
Okay.
Basically, it's implied like that's a lifetime decision right there.
So, and that's what his uncle does.
Yeah, that's where his uncle is, and he's kind of one of the leaders.
Okay.
Upper men, I guess, more respected, because I forget if he was ever the head of the Night's Watch. I don't think he was. I doubt he ever was.
What's the question?
If the uncle was the head of the Night's Watch in the start, because I don't think he's not, right?
No, he has a title, but he's not the.
Yeah, he's not the head.
Whatever the top thing is, that's not what he is.
He's something else. Yes. All right. But yeah, he's. Anyway.
Okay. So yeah, we're getting to the end of this, I guess. So.
We're getting to the greatest scene, the other greatest scene.
The other greatest scene, besides the interaction between Jon Snow and Tyrion Lannister.
Which we really didn't cover that much, but like.
Well, I mean, it was a great scene. Just if you're listening, go watch it. It was great.
Like you get the whole juxtaposition where you get to see two people who are outed by their own family as sort of tokens of like, just disdain and. One of them giving advice to the other one acting in anguish. That whole fucking like having those two characters interact in the first episode. Perfect.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, we get to the point where, and by the way, we didn't mention that Bran appears to be very good at climbing earlier in this episode.
Yeah, kids living in a castle, fucking.
Yeah, what else is he gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Now he's got a puppy he can teach.
Because they can totally climb also.
The direwolf, you never know.
With those paws. So he goes to this. I don't know what it is. Some tower.
Yeah, he climbs up a tower, and at the top, what do you know? Cersei and Jaime sitting in a tree.
Yeah.
KISSING.
Yeah, they were doing more than that.
So first comes love, then comes marriage.
Yeah, except that they're twins.
They are twins,
which makes it a little even more weird.
That makes it way weirder than siblings. It needed to be.
But I mean, okay.
Incest is a recurring theme in Game of Thrones.
I mean, I knew that kind of going in. It's fine. It's part of the show.
It's just part of the experience.
It's okay. It's not fine in real life, but it's fine in the show. I'll live with it. So this is what I alluded to earlier, though. In 5 minutes, you get Drogo basically raping Daenerys.
Yeah.
And then you get incest with Jaime and Cersei. And then you get Jaime pushing a 10-year-old boy out of a tower to his death, presumably. I mean, I don't think there's any way he could have survived that. Good God, Captain.
Good God, Captain.
Yeah, presumably.
Presumably, he's dead. And I might have to... I'll retract my good God, Captain, if we find out he lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's... I mean... Normally with a cliffhanger, the character is hanging off the edge of a precipice.
No.
In this case, he fell.
Game of Thrones hits you like a truck. And you get hit, and you're just like, whoa, what the fuck just happened? You just got invested into all these characters. One's getting raped, 2 of them are doing incest, and the other one's falling to his death.
Well, to be fair, I wasn't that invested in any of them yet.
Yeah. I know, but you just got introduced, and then it's already like, whoa,
Yeah, but
a lot of naughty.
The guy who I'm really gonna miss is the guy with the beard from the beginning. I thought he had some potential, but no.
Nah.
He's gone forever, killed by a White Walker. So. I guess that's the end.
I mean, you saw what White Walkers do. They turned them into mindless zombies. So he might be back.
Hit him with that restart button.
Okay, so I mean that takes us to the end of the episode, basically.
Which, overall, what did you think?
I mean, I guess I'm up first because I'm seeing this for the first time. I actually thought it was really good. I don't have a reference point, obviously, because this is the first episode of the show I'm seeing. But I think just on an entertainment level, it wasn't great. I know there's going to be better episodes because the pilot's never the best episode of anything.
If it is, then oh god, your show must really have some problems.
Your show gets a good God, Captain. If that's the case. So with no context, I will give this a 6.5.
Ooh.
So better than average, not great, but good.
All right. Now, I'm a sucker for this show. I kind of fanboy over this show. I thought that this show did everything I wanted for a Game of Thrones pilot to do. And because of that, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Mostly because the 8 being that it was really good, but there's a lot of glaring, some scenes kind of were a little null, I guess dull, and some of them had, I guess, characters that weren't being utilized, although they had the potential to be. And I don't want to go into anything else in that for obvious reasons, but yes, it's a very, very good episode. However, I think this show is very consistent with the quality that is outputted.
All right. And William.
So given that it's a pilot and there's a lot of characters, I think they did a pretty good job of, and multiple locations / storylines, you could say. Mm-hmm. I think it was kind of like they were stretched thin.
Yeah.
So I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 and I'm boosting it. Like in terms of it was separated from me knowing it's a pilot and knowing it's the first one they're introducing and stuff, I'd probably lower the score to like a 6 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But because I know the amount of content they're trying to achieve, it's like I think I'll give them a boost because I know they're trying to.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Much. Like with my Doctor Who rating, I boosted it because of all the world building, and I knew what was coming next.
Yeah.
And here, I don't have that, so my rating would be higher, I think, if I had that context.
Oh yeah.
Plus, if there's I like foreshadowing and things, and
that
always gives me like
there
a kick
is
whenever
one
I see
scene with the Targaryens. I think that William and I both know which one.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it because it's like if you talk about it, it's
yeah,
like,
but like that
you
scene,
point it out.
I think once it'll be we can talk about it eventually, but we'll bring back to it. But that one, I never have caught that, and the second I did, I'm like, holy shit!
That's like the main one I didn't catch the first time.
Yeah, I was just like, wow.
A lot of them I'm like, okay, that's a foreshadow. Because, it's like brand climbing. That's foreshadowing. But you're not sure exactly what it means. But it's like, okay, it's pretty obvious they're focusing
they're trying something.
Yeah, and actually, I watched this episode twice because the first time I didn't take any notes, and I felt that I really needed to. So I watched it again. And the second time I caught that, I think they were implying that Jon Arryn was killed by the Lannisters because he knew about Cersei and Jaime.
Ooh.
That's
and I didn't catch that the first time. Because when you first meet them, Cersei is saying to Jaime, like, what if he told someone? And I think that she's talking about that, about them being together.
Yeah.
We should write down Ryan's theories and just check them later.
Oh yeah. Yeah, seriously, write that down. Write that down with dragons growing on trees. And
I'm gonna put in my Game of Thrones notes. I have them on my computer and notepad.
I might mark down like interesting bits to call back to, like foreshadowing that we can call back on later.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have two theories: pinecone eggs and Wincest.
What?
Pinecone eggs, Wincest murder.
Are you going to know what that means later?
Yeah, this is how I study for tests, dude. I literally memorized parts of Judaism with songs like Mambo Number 5. Like,
okay, that's not going to make sense to our listeners who didn't hear our earlier discussion about how you're taking a class.
I am taking a class on Judaism. For context.
Just for fun, you memorize Judaism.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just a fun thing, but no, it's just a course I'm taking. It's cool. It's actually a lot of fun. But this isn't about the Jews. This is about the views.
Oh man.
Do you have a favorite character at this point, Ryan? Shows. Do both shows. And there's not that many in Doctor Who, but
well, okay, both shows. I mean, I don't know about Doctor Who. I would have to. I mean, okay, so Christopher Eccleston, who plays the Doctor, he is the 9th Doctor because there were 7 in the original series, and then they did a movie, and there was a new Doctor in the movie, and then Eccleston is the first Doctor in the new series, so he's the 9th. A lot of people hate on the 9th Doctor, but I actually really like him. He's not as good as David Tennant, who's the 10th Doctor, but he's good. So I guess I would have to say the Doctor is my favorite character in Doctor Who at this point.
Well, I have to agree. Like, the rest of them are so ass.
Rose is super naive. Mickey is just
Mickey.
He's Mickey. Jackie is up to illicit activities.
As nefarious in her free time.
Yes. And then was there really... I liked Clive a lot. You know what? I'm going to say Clive is my favorite character for now, even though he's dead.
Clive was other than the Doctor, Clive was great. But Clive didn't have enough screen time. Oh, man.
So, and in Game of Thrones, I mean, I already like Arya Stark. I think she's going to be great. And I know Bryce likes her a lot.
Yes.
And I like Tyrion too. I want to see more Tyrion stuff. He was interesting. Just because he's, basically because of that scene with Jon Snow. Like that's why he's interesting to me.
What about Jon Snow? What?
Well, the scene where Tyrion is talking to Jon Snow.
Yeah.
That scene made me feel like Tyrion is going to be one of the better characters in this show. Where I'm gonna be interested to see what they do with him.
Oh man. Oh, William, are you smiling right now?
Yes.
He could be lying to us.
You'll never know.
All right.
Bryce, do you have a favorite character in each show?
The Doctor and Arya. I am one for like Ryan. Oh man, when it comes to the Game of Thrones, I'll start and in shows in general. If you have a cute character that's also a badass, I'm gonna like them better than everyone else.
Okay, now that you've said that, I think you're gonna start to like Rose in the next few episodes. She doesn't do much in the pilot, but you're gonna like Rose.
A flying kick on a rope.
Yeah, I mean, see, that was one of my. You see, girl power. Hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah, okay. So she does one badass thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saves the world. Come on, by swinging on a chain. It's kind of the most anticlimactic.
They saved the world in like every other episode of the show. I mean, come on. It's not like it's that big of a deal. Earth constantly needs saving in that show. A show that I love, by the way.
All right. So, William, what did you think about your favorite characters then?
I think I'd agree that Doc, just because. Oh no! I liked Mickey. Right.
You liked Mickey.
Son
of a bitch.
I like the plastic version of Mickey more than every other character.
But the reason I gave it above 5 rating for it was entertainment. And I thought that Mickey was a very entertaining character.
That he was.
Oh my god.
For Game of Thrones, and shows in general, I'm always a sucker for like strong silent type. So I like Ned Stark.
I do like Ned.
I think in my first watch, I had the same reaction as Ned Stark was my favorite. So I think I'll say that for Game of Thrones.
All
right.
Well,
I mean,
is this the conclusion of our first ever podcast episode of Doctors and Dragons Season Bad Ghost episode? Winter Rose is coming.
Episode 1.
Having me, guys. I appreciate being the guest.
Yeah, you were great, William.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
I mean, for someone who has a name and like nothing else significant about him, like you were quite the guest.
What do you mean? He is the most significant guest we have had on this podcast ever.
Yeah, that is true. He is
literally the best guest you've ever had.
He is the most important guest we've had so far. So I guess with that, we will see you next time.
Yes.
Episode 2 of Doctor Who is called The End of the World, and episode 2 of Game of Thrones is The King's Road. So I propose that we call our next episode The End of the King's Road.
I'll have to color road both blue and orange. I'll have like an outline theme where I like make text like a little shifted.
No, Bryce, it's the end of the world and King's Road, so we're good. We're just leaving world out.
Yes. Otherwise, if they both had road, we could have just said road and just made the episode called Road.
There you go.
Where's the road?
Road.
Yeah,
by the way, earlier when you guys were yelling at me about spoilers, I really expected one of you to go, spoiled it.
Nah.
Those are references to SpongeBob. So
what?
Wow.
Right. Yeah, that very niche and obscure show no one's ever heard of.
So, I guess that's the end of our episode.
Yeah.
We'll
if you want to see
guys
more
again. Yeah.
Just look around.
should we tell them how to get in touch with us if they want?
Yeah. We will have a Twitter account, but you could always message me privately.
Yeah,
put it in the description our emails and Twitter.
Yeah. Email is the easiest way. It's doctorsanddragons1@gmail.com because some asshole has doctorsanddragons@gmail.com.
William, how could you?
Yeah, it's probably William.
I'm sorry.
So doctorsanddragons1@gmail.com. I also thought of this. If you are sending us an email that has spoilers in it, somehow indicate that in the subject line so that if it's like a Doctor Who spoiler, Bryce doesn't read it, and if it's a Game of Thrones spoiler, I don't read it.
Yeah.
So indicate that somewhere.
Or what we could do is we could have it go through a filter. of
Yeah,
where
but
both
that
of us
seems like a lot of.
Basically, for emails, we should both check them at the same time, so that what if it's
Should
a
we have a
spoiler?
standing appointment to check our email?
So that when we both click on one, that way, we'll know what one of us will know if it's a spoiler immediately. If someone's just because people are assholes, and this is why.
You know what? To our listeners, you're all assholes.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, how dare you get this far into our first ever episode of the podcast?
And I guess we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
So, what were we going to sign off with? Did we decide?
All assholes.
You're all assholes. Yeah.
Oh, Bryce. You never told us what we were ranking or rating the Game of Thrones episode on. Like mine was Sonic
Dragon
Screwdrivers.
eggs.
Dragon eggs. So I gave it 6.5 dragon eggs. Oh, that poor half dragon.
It can either be dragon eggs or direwolves, whatever you want to do. If you want half a direwolf.
Half a direwolf is even more morbid.
God. Good God, Captain.
Good God, Captain. Oh, jeez. Okay. We need no.
All right.
Lid.
Lid. All right. See ya.